Hi, Algebra 1. Thank you guys for being patient while we try to figure everything out. I don't have all the answers to the questions that you guys probably have right now about school being out, how long it's going to be out. Um, it's probably going to be for a while. We don't really know for sure, but I will let you know as soon as I know anything. So I know for sure this week and probably next week, you're going to be getting information through me from the Google Classroom, and watching these video notes. As we move forward into the next chapter, however, we might be doing just some different ways of learning that are going to be easier for you guys, watching like some videos and then doing some problems online. But I will let you know everything that you need to know about that as we get to that. Okay. So right now we are going to finish some of the notes for the quadratic formula. I know a lot of you raised your hands and said you have seen this before, which is awesome. It's really important that you still try to make sure you do your notes, do your homework to the best of your ability, and kind of stay up to date with what we're doing. If you fall behind, it does just make it harder when you jump back in, and it's just harder. So, yes. Okay. So the quadratic formula, we're talking about, um, a quadratic, so it's an x squared value, and we're going to write it in standard form, which again means the highest exponent first. So something x squared plus the x plus the value equals 0. And so the quadratic formula is x would equal negative b plus or minus radical b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now, some of you may have seen this. There are definitely a couple songs that you can learn to sing this. When I learned, it's like to Jingle Bells. And I know, I can't remember off the top of my head. I know there's other ways that students have told me over the years. So this one, I always remembered it all the way back from when I was in like whatever, 7th grade or something. So it's negative b plus or minus radical b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if you want to sing yourself a little song, that is fantastic. If you just want to memorize it, that works too. Hopefully, I know sometimes your notes don't show all the solved problems, so hopefully your notes look like this. If not, we're going to go and do an example 2 together. So when we're solving these, our first one here, we've got x squared minus x minus 5 equals 0. We are labeling the a in front of the x squared is 1. The number in front of x is a negative 1, and c is negative 5. Okay, that constant. And so you literally just plug it in the formula. So we have negative b plus or minus radical negative 1 squared minus 4. The 4 is part of the formula, and then a and c all over 2a. So we're just going to simplify what's under the square root. This one, that is the simplest square root because 21 can't be simplified. So you guys are going to be leaving your answers like this. If you use a calculator, you will see that you do get 2 decimal answers by just doing 1 plus this and then divide by 2 versus 1 minus that, divide by 2. But you need a calculator to simplify those 2 answers. And this is pretty much how we are going to be leaving our answers. So let's look at example 2 over here, where we have 2x squared minus 5x plus 1 equals 0. So the first step is to label a, b, and c. So a goes with the x squared, so that's going to be a 2. The b is in the middle, so negative 5. C is 1, and that's it. So we're going to start with, we already have the negative b, and then so our b is a negative 5, plus or minus b squared, so negative 5 squared, minus 4, a, which is 2, c times 1, and all over 2a. So the a is a 2. Okay, so we're going to simplify this. Negative 5 is just 5. Plus or minus, I got 5 squared, or negative 5 squared, so it's 25. Minus 4 times 2 times 1, so that's minus 8 all over 4. So if I simplify that, I'll have 5 plus or minus 25 minus 8, that's just 17 over 4. I can't really simplify the square root. So for most of the time, we're just going to leave our answers like that, as long as the square root is simplified. If we wanted to write decimal answers, we're going to do 5 plus or minus square root of 17 over 4. And we can write that in 2 different ways. 5 plus square root of 17 over 4 versus 5 minus the square root of 17 over 4. And then you can get out your calculator and solve those if you wanted to. Okay? Most of the time, simplified square root form is going to be great. So we're just going to practice a few of these. You always want to make sure to put it in standard form first before you get started, because things can be mixed up or it doesn't equal 0, and it's going to mess you up from the very beginning if you don't have it in standard form. So make sure you do that. Okay, for this first one, we're going to label A, B, and C. So A is the number in front of the x squared, so it's 1. What's the B? There is no x. So what would that be? That's going to be 0. And then the C is going to be the last one, which is going to be minus 3. Okay, so we've got all that. And we're going to just plug that into our formula. So x is going to equal negative b. So that's just 0. Plus or minus square root 0 squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So you always want to just start with everything in the formula and then simplify on your next step. I don't really want you to simplify like in your head while you're writing it down. You can make so many mistakes that way. Okay. So 0 plus or minus, that's just gone. So we're just going to have plus or minus square root. That's gone. So I have negative 4 times 1 times negative 3. So that's going to be a positive 12 divided by 2. I kind of made that square root too long. So the only thing, we normally could be able to leave our answer there. However, can we simplify square root of 12? Yes, we sure can. I'm just going to write that over here. Square root of 12, that's going to be 4 times 3. The square root of 4 is 2. So we'll have 2 square root of 3. So this is going to equal plus or minus, it'll be 2 square root of 3 over 2. Now, can we simplify anything? Yes. So those 2's are all divided, so we can just divide those out, and this becomes plus or minus square root of 3. So our x equals plus or minus square root of 3 is our final answer. All right, so we're not going to do like a million of these because they do take a while to like work through, but we're going to do a few of these so we can get the hang of this. So this one, we'll do number 2. Is number 2 in standard form? It is not. We need to move the 12 to the same side. So it'd be x squared minus 12 equals 0. And I want you to see if you can label A, B, and C. So go ahead and see if you can do that. So you should have A is 1, the B is 0, it's missing, and the C is negative 12. So this is going to look a lot like number 1. We're going to have x equals negative b, so just negative 0, 0, whatever, plus or minus square root 0 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 12, all over 2a, so 2 times 1. So let's simplify. I keep the plus or minus. The 0 is just gone. So negative 4 times negative 12 is going to be a positive 48 and divided by 2. All right, so let's see if we can simplify. I'm just going to do that down here. 48, hopefully we know that is 4 times 12. Can I break up 12 again? Yes. Oops, sorry, there's a square. So 12 is also 4 times 3. So do we see what that would equal? This is 16 times 3. So square root of 16 is 4 comes out. We've got a square root of 3. So that's why always simplifying square roots is so important, because we're going to be using them. So this becomes plus or minus 4 square root of 3 over 2. And can I simplify? Yes, you can. So the 2 is going to go in here twice. It doesn't wipe out, but we'll end up with our answer of x equals plus or minus 2 square root of 3. And the fraction's gone because it's just dividing by 1, so we don't have to write it as a fraction anymore. Okay, so flip the page. We, again, are not going to do all of these, but we are going to do a few couple, just so that we really make sure that you guys have the hang of it with my assistance before you try to do these on your own. Okay, so again, get in standard form. So I'm just going to write that up here. Make sure it's in standard form. That messes up people all the time. So here I'm going to subtract the 4. Okay. So once you subtract the 4, it's in standard form. We are going to label A, B, and C. So go ahead and try to label A, B, and C. Okay, so A is 1, B is 2, C is going to be negative 4. And we're going to plug this in. So negative B, so negative 2 plus or minus radical B squared, so 2 squared, minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. So once we have that in form, we're now just going to simplify. So negative 2 plus or minus, we're going to simplify the square root. This is going to be 4, and it's really going to be negative 4 times negative 4 is going to be plus 16. So we can do all this in our head. So 4 plus 16 is 20 all over 2. Let me erase some of this here. A little long. Okay, and then does 20 simplify? It sure does. I'll write that up here. 20 is 4 times 5. So I'm going to simplify this to negative 2 plus or minus. I can take the square root of 4, so it becomes 2 square root of 5 over 2. So now do you see that all of these numbers are divisible by 2? So they all have to be divisible by 2, not just some of them. So here I can divide this one by 2, which is 1, and this one by 2, which is 1. So really my answer becomes negative 1 plus or minus square root of 5. So good job to you guys for keeping up with this. Okay, so let's go ahead and do number 5. I'm going to subtract the 1 to get it in standard form. And once you do that, then we're going to label A, B, and C. So go ahead and label those. So we'll have 3, 5, and negative 1. And again, it's just the same thing, plugging it in. So negative B, negative 5, plus or minus the square root of B squared, so 5 squared, minus 4 times 3 times negative 1 all over 2a. So we'll have negative 5 plus or minus the square root. This will be 25. So let me just write this. So 25, and then I'll have a negative 4 times 3 is negative 12 times negative 1, which will be positive 12 all over 6. So that becomes, just adding under that square root, 37 over 6. Now, can I simplify square root of 37? Does anything go into that? Nothing goes into that. Then we can take the square root of. So that is all you have to do. That's your final answer, just like that. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to give you a little bit of time. See if you can start number 6. So again, we're going to label A, B, and C, just like we were in class, as if I was going to let you do this by yourself. So this will be 4, negative 6, and 1. So I'm going to let you get started, and then I'll complete the problem so that you can definitely double check and make sure you're doing it right. So I'm going to give you a minute. Go ahead. All right, hopefully you started this. So I will go ahead and write it in. So negative b means the opposite of b. So it'll be positive 6 plus or minus square root b squared minus 4 times 1 all over 2a. You gotta be real careful with your signs. So this will be a positive 36. This will be 16, so minus 16 all over 8. Okay. So that becomes 20 over 8. We talked about reducing or simplifying. 20 is 4 times 5, so that would be 6 plus or minus 2 square root of 5 all over 8. So if you got that far, congratulations. That is fantastic. Do you notice, though, that each of the terms is divisible by 2? So like 2 can go into this, this, and this. So I can cancel it because it's from top to bottom. So 2 goes in there 3 times, goes in there once, and it goes in there 4 times. So this will become 3 plus or minus square root of 5 over 4. So if you're having a hard time with the simplifying part at the very end, don't stress over that. I would rather you worry about like the 98% of the rest of it. And if that simplifying gets you, it's just like a minor thing, okay? Oh, okay. All right, so we're just going to skip, and our last one we're going to do is number 8. So again, we're going to get this in standard form. So we're going to subtract the 11, and then I'm going to label A, B, and C. So this will have 1, negative 11. And we're going to plug this in. So negative 1 plus or minus 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 11 all over 2 times 1. So we're going to simplify. So negative 1 plus or minus. This will be a plus 44 because it's negative 4 times a negative 11. So it would be 1 plus 44, so it would be 45 all over 2. Does anything go into 45 that's helpful for us? Yeah, 9 does. Okay, so that's going to be 9 times 5. And I can simplify that. So that would be 3 square root of 5 all over 2. None of those numbers simplify. And so that would be your final answer. Okay, so hopefully you guys got the hang of it. For your homework, you're doing the quadratic formula worksheet. Most of you picked that up in class. If you did not pick it up in class, I will post the blank worksheet on my website. And I'm also going to post the answers to the worksheet so that you can check your work, because I'm not going to be able to check it for you. So you're going to want to make sure that you've mastered this topic. And so I will also post the answers. You guys, it's in your best interest to do the worksheet on your own and then just check your answers. It really doesn't help anything if you just look at my answers while you solve the problems. It's not how we want you to learn, okay? So make sure you're bouncing back and forth between this is in the Google Classroom and then also my teacher website, which hopefully you have been to before. But it's just my regular teacher webpage. Okay, so quadratic formula worksheet. And on the quadratic formula worksheet, you're only doing the odds. Odds only. So don't do them, unless you want more practice. But just do the odds. That'll be plenty of practice for you. If you still want more practice, you can always fill in the rest of these notes. But you are going to be doing odds. Also, at the end of this video, there's going to be a word to click. Click a button. Either it says done or submit. I forget. There's a button at the end of this video. Click it. When you do, then I get that you've completed the video on my side, and you guys are going to be getting points for this. So make sure just in a second, it's going to say done or submit or whatever it says. Click that button, and then it registers on my side that you did this. And then I'm going to be giving you points for making sure that you guys are keeping up with the notes. So make sure you do that, okay? All right, you guys, I will talk with you guys soon.